Instruments signed for second phase of Lae-Nadzab Highway. Jiwaka is 13th province to have new physical planning board. And more support for village courts.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening. This is Monday's news. Governor General Bob Dadai has signed instruments for the second phase of the Lae-Nadzab Highway. The stretch will cost the national government more than 130 million kina and will be fully funded by the state.
For the better part of 2015, the 2-mile to 9-mile stretch of the highway was under construction. That portion has since been completed. The second phase from the Wau Bulolo turnoff at 9 Mile to Yalu will begin shortly as soon as China Railway International, the contractor, mobilizes its resources. On Friday, the Governor-General Bob Dadai signed the agreement on behalf of the state, paving way for the start of the second phase. Works Secretary David Were and company officials were also present. Along the same stretch, another project is ongoing. Australian funded the 300,000 kina maintenance work on the road from Yalu to Erap Bridge.
This is long transport support sector, all state funded projects, long working routine maintenance.
The second phase will cost 135 million kina and will be fully funded by the national government. The contract was awarded to China Railway International. The company recently completed this section. The work also includes reconstruction of bridges along the way. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Lae police are investigating an armed robbery at a major wholesaler on Saturday. Police reports say up to 5 armed men held staff at gunpoint and stole an unspecified amount of cash. The members of the gang were armed with factory-made and homemade weapons. Lae Metropolitan Superintendent Anthony Wagambi Jr. said the gang made a quick getaway on a waiting boat. The robbery took 10 minutes. With the challenges that mining companies face in their day-to-day operations, safety plays the most crucial role in ensuring that staff do not get hurt. As part of National Mine Safety Week 2017, Newcrest has partnered with International SOS to conduct refresher safety training for its stakeholders.
Given the geographical conditions of Papua New Guinea's mining operations, there has been a focus on keeping operation safety standards on par with world best practices. More importantly, ensuring the safety of all workers in all aspects of mining operations. Newcrest, operator of the Lihir mine in New Island Province, has this week brought together stakeholders from Lihir as well as government agencies for a refresher course on occupational health and safety. In partnership with International SOS, participants this morning went through basic responses to various dangers, including medical emergencies.
Now, the rule here is you do not move the person out.
For International SOS workplace trainer John Arua, these basic skill sets are the most crucial in any medical emergency that may occur within high-pressure environments such as that of a mine site.
On mining sites, one of the biggest things that all stakeholders like mining sectors, one of the very foremost important thing that they should know is knowing how to tackle medical emergencies while on site. Little things that they can do to help save their own colleagues on site.
The refresher course is being held as part of Papua New Guinea's National Mine Safety Week and will culminate with a team-building activity on Wednesday. Meribatulo, National EMTV News.
With the hype of the 2017 national elections looming, the Road Traffic Authority is warning the public about overloading vehicles. Chief Executive Officer Nelson Terema said the public must not take risks because overloading of vehicles is one of the main causes of traffic deaths.
With most communities linked by road, the use of land transport will be obvious in the coming national election. RTA Chief Executive Officer Nelson Terema warned the public to be cautious when moving around.
If you see that the vehicle is overloaded, you don't need to, jump on. We need to take some, responsibility as far as our safety is concerned.
In the past 3 months, the Road Traffic Authority has seen a rise in road accidents. According to RTA, 3 out of 5 accidents in a month are caused by overloading. The authority is doing its best to carry out awareness in communities, but is crippled by its small capacity since breaking away from the Transport Division.
So in the meantime, at the moment we are trying to plan out how we are going to enforce or to address all these issues.
With the issue of writs about a month away and the campaign to follow, the RTA Chief Executive is asking the public to be responsible and not to take the risk of overloading vehicles.
High population moving around in and out. It's very hard. So I think it's better to take ownership and making sure be responsible.
Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Cleanup work has begun on the line of shops in Port Moresby that either went up in flames or were looted last Friday. The shops include the Papindo Department Store, Gutlakaikai Kaiba and Johnson's Pharmacy. The fire started from the Gutlakaikai Kaiba last Thursday afternoon and spread to the nearby shops the next day. This incident is believed to have been one of the worst fires that has destroyed over 10 business houses. At the moment, the PNG Fire Service is collecting incident reports from the affected shops before the cause of the fire can be established. Port Moresby residents living in Boroko have raised concerns of heavy flooding after recent construction of residential apartments. The residents who live near a drain say the contractors built over the drain, and as a result, this has caused the floods. They are now concerned about their property with the current rainy weather in the city.
This footage taken by residents shows how high the water rises into the yards when the drain overflows. The floods reach higher than knee length and carries with it sewage water and rubbish. This poses a major health threat to residents and has also damaged their homes, as some houses are built low. They said last night's downpour was one of the highest flooding they have experienced. Residents say this issue comes after a recent construction of apartments built in the area. They claim contractors built over the drain, which has caused an obstruction for proper drainage.
We, the community of whatever, particularly Section 2, Lot 5A, and those opposite our street have been affected by flooding, which is flooding of a drain which is just opposite of where we live. It has occurred about four times. The flooding has occurred about 4 times. The third and fourth has been such that we lost many things. Our personal belongings, we have storage overflow. We community here are very, very concerned about this, and we want something to be done in this, in the drain being altered so that we don't experience similar situations again.
The residents welcome the construction of the apartments, but say they want the contractors to reconsider the issue they have caused.
When we are walking over the flood, it's almost at our waist. And it's not only the water itself, it's sewage mixed with everything. With all kinds of debris coming from all over the area.
And Bagarapim or something inside Long House.
Another resident from across the road showed EMTV News the aftermath of last night's floods done to her house. Meanwhile, EMTV News has contacted the contractors, but they are yet to respond to the matter. Merlin Daukatam, National EMTV News.
And more now on the cyclone emergency in North Queensland. The communities there are bracing for the onslaught of Cyclone Debbie. It's not only the powerful winds and rains posing a threat, but a potentially devastating tidal surge.
Well, I'm now situated on the lee side of Bowen, so it's not the open exposed area where the wind comes straight on full frontal onto the beach, but we're on the backside at a place called Queen's Beach, but it's still exposed and open to tidal surge. Clearly it does move around the headlands and move back on the beaches. I want to show you something over here. This particular stretch of Queen's Beach is a lot of houses further up there, just behind that first sand dune. But as the tide tomorrow morning is going to coincide with one of the biggest high tides of the year, 3.65 metres, or near on 12 feet in the old scale. So what a big king tide like that will do will actually rise up on top of this sand dune and flood in behind. Now I'm on a ridge here. Behind here is not a ridge. In fact, down beside all these huts and leading out to the golf course, it's down, it's underlying. Therefore, it's going to become exposed to that tidal surge. And then if you put a 2 metre tidal surge from the storm on top of that, we are talking a lot of inundation. There lays the problem. A lot of these houses, they are in the yellow zone and also the red zone, and that means evacuate. Get out now before the system starts to come closer to the coast. The rain has just started to settle in, and that also means a lot of flooding starting to occur. It's only been raining for a little bit, and a lot of these drains can't even cope at the moment. They've been inundated and sogged from the recent rain and weather, and therefore it's not going to take a lot from the fill up. And we're expecting quite a few hundred millimetres in the next 12 to 18 hours.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A Lae businessman accused of disrupting operations at Lae's Engau Hospital on Saturday night has come forward to clarify the story. Titus Maima says he and 2 of his relatives were injured during a confrontation with security guards outside the Huon Gulf Motel. He had taken them to the hospital when the injured man's relatives came to the hospital and caused another commotion after receiving word that they had been shot. The story was posted on Facebook.
Me, my wife and my 3 kids. 4 kids all got up on the inside of the truck and we drove in. I think the information that went out to his relative was he got shot by a security guard. He got shot by a security guard through the head. So I was in there with the wounded guy, instead of bad blood. So maybe I wait, look, some treatment stuff. I think online where they came on scene here, approached them, I think all coming, they were rowdy. So like a stampede, all come rough, and all security shooting man, kind of thing. So in doing so, all security and all security was running about that. So I had to leave the room and me come outside and then like coming situation down there. So everything was like everything like just 5 minutes or so. Less than 5 minutes. By then, all police or companies. So, mix of Mary picking blowing Belusi money to be attended to, and we drove out. But the police come in and they stopped us at the gate here, so we had to explain everything. And then Metsup come down, so story everything, clear him side, blah, blah, blah. So we'll let him come through. So that the guys were all suspecting, but they were arrested at night and carried on locked him up.
Jiwaka is the 13th province in Papua New Guinea to have a new physical planning board. This means they will have the powers and functions of the ministry at the provincial level in terms of decision making. Last Friday, the Lands and Physical Planning Minister Benny Allen swore in the board members and unveiled the Kurumul Township of Jiwaka Province's physical plan.
The Jiwaka Provincial Government and its Physical Planning Board members have planned for Kurumul T, which is located along the Highlands Highway, to become the new headquarter and town for the new Jiwaka province. The state owned almost 380 hectares of the land. The physical planning of the township costed roughly 3 million kina and was unveiled to the Physical Planning Minister Benny Allen last Friday. A memorandum of understanding was also signed between the ministry and those who will involve in the building of the township.
To Highlands Highway, North Waki step close to left side. Nice flower imi Waki to run namel. Na sambla tinting imi osem. Maski imi come up in Nubla provincial at chorus play imi Kurumul.
Minister Benny Allen urged the board members to be transparent in decision making in terms of giving out land titles and must avoid outside influence. He also urged them to plan proper and must have equal use of the land in terms of income generating activities like agriculture.
Giraun em ibla looking at some life here. Giraun em ogre something. But really ground where state got logen, you need to manage him good. You seem lost sustainable way. So that you may look him or development and come up good on tables like around. Now you may look him province employment by developers.
Minister Allen told the provincial government to make funding available for the board to be working. Basenata Yama, National EMTV News, Jiwaka.
The law and justice sector has increased investment in village court administration and construction of court complexes. In the last 12 months, the sector has collected data on the number of village court officials and built court infrastructures to accommodate increase in legal cases.
Speaking during the 2017 Leadership Summit, Mr. Kalino explained that there are over 1,600 village courts in Papua New Guinea. Kalino says about 1/10 of the village court officials are still not on payroll, but the sector has implemented measures to address this.
Out of that, there are 1,492 officials who are on payroll. We still have 10,628 officials.
For the district and national courts, the sector has invested in court complexes in a number of provinces. The concept of constructing court complexes gives the judicial and magisterial services one building that houses both the national and district court houses and the registries.
Last year, we went to government, and this government has kindly approved our response through a Community Justice Service Center program, where we want to partner with district development authorities and have community justice coordinators in the districts to monitor first and foremost the work of village court officers and then mediators.
Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Former Justice Minister Kerengakua says local law and justice officers must be supported to maintain law and order in communities. The Sinasina Yongumul MP said little attention has been given to them, causing officers to neglect their duties as state agents. He made this statement when issuing uniforms to law and justice officers in Sinasina Yongumul district in Simbu recently.
The former Justice Minister visited the people of Tabare LLG to witness the presentation of over 100 uniforms for members of the law and justice sector in his electorate. Speaking to those who gathered at Yabakogul village, the Sinasina Yongumul MP said local hand of law is the most important government agent in addressing law and order.
We need all this manpower. Lost a place clear, all by no space for government.
The uniforms were presented to village court magistrates, councillors and peace mediators who are at the forefront of maintaining law and order in communities.
Manpower is not no got resource, no got recognition, all to all put down.
Village court magistrate Anna Barbara says a small help such as wearing a uniform will remind people of the presence of government in every village setting. This is the second batch of uniforms funded under the Sinasina Yongumul district budget. The first was in 2013.
First time we come for them 14 kina 16 kina, but now we like new uniform for them big money 7 family.
Apart from presenting the uniforms, MP Kua reminded the community to exercise their democratic right by making their own choice when polling begin for the 2017 national elections.
Through the election of people, by a majority will identify leader or carry heavy blow next 5 years. This play exercise, everyone play important constitutional exercise inside the democratic system of government.
Jack Lapave, Junior National, EMTV News.
Commitment and dedication to work will bring changes in the country, says Department of Provincial and Local Government Affairs Secretary Dixon Gwina. Gwina said this while highlighting the department's responsibilities to staff during the department's meeting this morning in Port Moresby. He challenged staff to serve the office with loyalty and dedication in their work to implement government policies at all levels of government. Eric Harupma with this report.
In a small but very important meeting this morning, Department of Provincial and Local Government Affairs Secretary Dixon Gwina explained the organization's responsibilities in implementing government policies at all levels of government.
But as public servants, we are here to serve whatever government that comes in and the government policies, and I believe the policies will remain as moving forward in the next government that is coming in. because these policies have made a lot of impact in the lives of our people. He talked about the DSIP, the PSIP, the SIP funding, and I think all of you know that this year they have gone right down to the wards. There's LLG or ward SIP, ward service improvement program, 10,000 for each of the wards in the country. We have more than 6,000 wards in the country.
He maintained that in order for Papua New Guinea to change, staff morale, commitment and attendance to work is very important. Guina said every year 300 million kina from the government budget is appropriated towards staff's annual salary. Therefore, he said the department will adopt a check-in and check-out system to monitor staff work performances.
We have already introduced our system that you need to clock in and out. It's going to record the time you come in, it's going to record the time you went out, and it's going to record the time how many hours you are working. You will be paid according to the hours that you put into this department. We are no longer public servants. We are here to serve the people of the country. We must be competitive like the private sector. We cannot lay back. We cannot hang around. We cannot waste time. If you think you're going to waste time hanging around and receiving your pay, you're making a big mistake.
He also appealed to all staff to work in partnership with line agencies, private sectors and developing partners for capacity building and to decentralize services from provinces right down to ward levels.
We are here to serve the 89 districts in the country. We are here to serve the 22 provinces in the country. We are here to serve the 319 plus local level governments in the country. We are here to serve the 6,000 plus wards in the country. We are running a country.
The department secretary also acknowledged the World Bank and DFID assistance with US $28 million, approximately over 70 million kina, which will go towards funding community rehabilitation projects in the country. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
School dropouts in Hela Province will now have the chance to advance their education careers through the Hope Institute in Hela Province. This follows an agreement between UPNG, the Department of Education and the Taripori District. Taripori MP James Marape says this initiative is to improve Hela's level of education for many who have missed out.
2 weeks after signaling the destruction of guns in Hela, Hela is now turning its focus to education. Recently, a delegation consisting of the Higher Education Minister, Education Secretary, UPNG Vice Chancellor and local leaders among other stakeholders flew into Tari to ink the deal. The MOA seals the move to provide a platform for education for Hela people headed by the Taripori District.
He is giving us hope to make available higher education access to as many Papua New Guineans as we can.
The learning facility has been constructed just outside Hela capital for easy access by those attending. It's an opportunity for many in Hela who have missed out in completing their education due to tribal fights and other factors.
No free school, but you will be in low school time you go to gate school.
The new learning institution will also provide maternal care for pregnant mothers and also family planning counseling.
By working health services, lo one Mary Lotari, but also me by helping more Medicare and Pikinini.
Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra urged school dropouts to enroll and be given a second chance to advance their education.
Education, us, Papua New Guinea, and future Papua New Guinea. Without education, nothing will happen.
Local leaders say this move is the first to highlight the importance of education to the Hela population. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Acting Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra has highlighted that the number of girls enrolling at schools has increased over the last 3 years. Dr. Kombra says the increase is because of the implementation of the tuition fee-free policy.
Since its implementation in 2014, the number of girls enrolling at schools has increased. A total of 2.2 million children have been enrolled and given the opportunity to get educated. Of this number, 46% are girls.
An educated woman is an agent of change. And that is the difference that every community in the country will be proud of.
This increase is one of the positive outcomes of the tuition-free fee policy. Dr. Combra stressed that it is important all girls are given the same opportunity as boys. While highlighting the outcomes, Dr. Combra also emphasized on the challenges. He said despite these challenges, the tuition-free fee policy has seen progressive changes and will continue to provide more opportunities for the younger generation.
We have also observed that the academic performance of girls has improved over the last few years, especially in urban areas where there is a conducive environment. The academic performance of girls are much better than the boys. So if we have a conducive environment across Papua New Guinea, girls will be comparatively, academically, as equal to boys.
Marikauna, National, EMTV News.
A coffee buyer in Jiwaka says there is a need to increase coffee production in the Highlands region. Repi Mopafi, who buys coffee from local farmers, says there is a huge market available for coffee farmers, but many people are not planting coffee. Martha Louise with this report.
Repi Mofafi is a local coffee buyer in Jiwaka. Her day starts here. She buys straight from local farmers and resells the beans to major coffee exporters. Mopafi is a hard-working woman who started her business in 2010. This is her 7th year.
Coffee for a long time here. I'm working picking coffee now. Also side production and work drop here. If all man all start planning more coffee in expand. Because market coffee and big market now. You know what understanding but you may hard market and stopping. So
there is a high demand in the coffee business here in the Highlands region. But Mopafi is now concerned the coffee production may drop after the coffee berry borer was detected in coffee beans coming from Jiwaka. Coffee berry borer is an insect that is destroying the coffee beans.
I'm worried now because Downing Street production of coffee and
Last Friday, Minister for Agriculture Tommy Tomskol says farmers in all coffee-growing provinces must start applying best management practices. He said a submission was made to NEC seeking 65 million kina. This is to manage and control the disease. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Jiwaka.
Octedi Mining Limited celebrated its 30th consecutive year of copper concentrate shipments to Japan last week. Marking the celebration, a delegation from Japan was invited to tour the mine operation site last week. OTML Managing Director and CEO Peter Graham said the mining company is grateful to its customers and the long-standing relationship. He acknowledged the continuous assistance OTML has received from its customers, especially in last year's dry weather event. Since 1987 to 2016, a total of 7.3 million tons of copper concentrate has been sold in direct sales contracts to Japanese smelter companies. And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3145 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3070, $0.3998 Australian dollars, $0.2811 euro, and 33.76 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed higher while coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil, and copra closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 59.86 points lower, the ASX closed at 6.85 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 6.88 points lower. Stories making headlines overseas when we return. A new malaria vaccine. Australian and Chinese authorities crack down on illegal drugs, and the latest on the London terror attack. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, Australian researchers believe they are on the verge of developing an effective vaccine for malaria, which could save millions of lives every year. The research has just passed initial human testing with flying colours.
This groundbreaking research has led to what could be the world's first fully effective and safe malaria vaccine developed here at the Griffith University Institute of Glycomics. Already it's undergone early clinical human trials, which included head researcher Professor Michael Good. He was infected with the vaccine along with 10 other volunteers, and the results have been very promising.
We've shown with the pilot study is that the vaccine induces an immune response, which we know is associated with protection in laboratory animals. So if those people are now protected, that's very exciting.
The next stage is to intensify the human trials, so up to 30 people will be vaccinated, then infected with malaria to see how well they can fight it off. This is a $500 million project launched today by Sir Peter Cosgrove and funded by local Rotary clubs. Steve Carroll lost his daughter to malaria when she was 19.
If every school child put in 50 cents, imagine what that would do to this project here. It's more than important. I think it's world-shattering.
400,000 people die from malaria around the world, mostly children. This vaccine is a big step in reaching the end goal of eradicating the disease.
Australian and Chinese police have smashed an international drug ring. 5 people have been arrested, accused of trying to import more than 100 kilograms of ice hidden in shipping containers.
A joint international police operation that has officers here talking up our law enforcement ties with China. Now 3 men have been arrested and charged in Sydney and a further 2 in China after the seizure of 100 kilograms of ice with an estimated street value here of $100 million. It began with a tip-off from Chinese authorities when they discovered the drugs hidden in the floor of a shipping container. The drugs were removed, but in a controlled operation, the container was still shipped to Sydney. Investigators had swooped when it was delivered to a Revesby address. A 22-year-old Fijian national was arrested, along with a 38-year-old Australian and 42-year-old Hong Kong resident. They have been charged with drug offences and will appear in court next month.
This shows how important the relationship is that Australian law enforcement has built up with Chinese authorities. Inquiries are continuing. I wouldn't rule out further search warrants here in Australia.
The operation was revealed publicly today after 2 more arrests in China. Investigators say it's the product of closer ties with Chinese law enforcement through Task Force Blaze. Now, since it was formed 2 years ago, a staggering 7 tonnes of drugs and precursors have been seized both here and in China.
Police investigating London's Westminster terror attack hit a technical hurdle. They believe the killer used a mobile phone app minutes before the rampage. The high security means they can't see who he was communicating with.
It took just 82 seconds. Dozens of pedestrians were run over, a car was crashed, a policeman was stabbed and the attacker was shot dead. All over in less than a minute and a half. Police are certain of how long the attack lasted, and they believe that Khaled Massoud was acting alone that day, but they have more evidence to gather. He's thought to have sent or looked at a message on his phone just before he started killing, and the Home Secretary says the investigation must have access to the messaging service he used.
We need to make sure that our intelligence services have the ability to get into situations like encrypted WhatsApp.
WhatsApp is a messaging service which uses encryption to protect its users from being hacked.
If you weaken encryption for one person, then you're weakening it for everyone.
Parliament Square is lined with tributes to those who were murdered last Wednesday, including one from the Prime Minister. The family of Keith Palmer, the policeman who was killed on duty in Westminster, have released a statement of thanks for the public's support. We would also like to express our gratitude, they say, to the people who were with Keith in his last moments and who were working that day. There was nothing more you could have done. You did your best and we are just grateful he was not alone. This afternoon, police investigating the attack made their 12th arrest. A 30-year-old man was detained in Birmingham.
Police clashed with protesters in Moscow as planned anti-corruption rallies took place across Russia. Hundreds of people were reportedly detained, among them Russia's opposition leader.
There were many tense moments and, according to state media, hundreds of arrests made in Moscow alone. our crew also getting caught up in the pushing and shoving.
There's a massive police presence on hand here at these protests, and time and again we're seeing scenes like this, with the police pushing the protesters back and even making arrests. This way, this way. Okay.
Russia's official news agency put the turnout at around 8,000 people at the march in Moscow, declared illegal by Russian authorities. Taking to the streets to criticize what they call widespread corruption among the country's elite, the organizers say similar gatherings happened in about 100 towns and cities across this vast country. The man calling for the action, opposition activist and Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, was himself detained. But those who followed his call weren't shy to voice their grievances.
I'm against Putin, against his corruption.
They can't support our government, really. They steal our money using their power.
These protests don't pose a serious threat to Russia's President Vladimir Putin, who boasts approval ratings of around 80%. But they showed the opposition is willing to take to the streets, whether the authorities allow them to or not.
Jiwaka Sports is next. Details when we come back.
Jiwaka Sports.
Welcome to Jiwaka Sports. The Pacific MMI Port Moresby Corporate Snooker Competition queued off at 6:30 p.m. with Premier Grade Lamana 1 taking debutants DKS at the Q Club, while Kansas faced off with Magic Wizard at the Lamana Hotel. The other Premier Grade game between PMMI and Lamana 2 will commence on Thursday evening at the Q Club.
The competition queued off 3 weeks late due to late team registration, but it has been cleared by management. Currently, there are 6 teams in each division of Premier. A, B and C grade confirmed to participate. POMBSA President John Chan said one of the Premier Grade games will be played on Thursday due to Aviate Club's non-use of facility on Monday. Chan made it clear that the scorecards must be passed on to Tournament Director Joe Chan after every game played the same night or the next morning. The A-grade division tomorrow night will see Rapid Response play PMMI 2 at the Q Club, while Kansas and PMMI 1 on a bye. On Thursday in C grade, HDI Dragons play PMMI 2 at the Q Club. Kansas face BPNG Cannons at the Laguna Hotel. And PMMI 1 take on PMMI 3 at the Aviate Club. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
To NRL, round 4 of the Telstra Premiership has seen some big upsets over the weekend. The Brisbane Broncos have overcome the Canberra Raiders to secure their second win for the season.
Thanks, Yvonne. Yes, the Bunnies led out by...
The first match saw the South Sydney Rabbitohs play the Sydney Roosters at the ANZ Stadium. Another thriller match between the Broncos and the Raiders saw the Broncos come out on top with a field goal from Jordan Kahu in the 73rd minute.
2 tackles gone.
This is it now.
They're going to go early. It is Kahu. He's got plenty of time. Kahu has set it over.
The Broncos beat the Raiders 13 points to 12.
To come away with the 2 points. Beaten by a point.
The 2016 premiers Cronulla Sharks were outstanding against the Parramatta Eels at the ANZ Stadium on Saturday afternoon, beating them 20 points to 6. The Storm faced the Tigers on Sunday afternoon and managed to get their 4th win of the season with a 22-14 victory. The last match of round 4 saw the Dragons play the Warriors, in which the Dragons came out victorious 26 points to 12. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
SPPNG Hunters faced their first loss of the season against the North Devils yesterday at the National Football Stadium. They lost 32 points to 18 against a team that had a few experienced NRL players. There were a few calls by the referee and touch judges that did not go in favour of the Hunters. SP Hunters coach Michael Murrum was disappointed about some of the penalties given during the match.
undisciplined play from our team, okay, especially first half, early part of the second half. But I think that some of the calls from the referee probably, I don't know, but I don't want to, just because we lost a game, I'm not blaming referees here, but it's a bit inconsistent with the rulings there. So there's a few times we got off to a good start in the second half, but just penalties after penalties. And
they didn't start well, as Michael said. Sometimes that happens, and a couple of bounces of the ball went our way. And again, sometimes luck favours us, and sometimes over here it doesn't favour you. Not very often. I mean, they haven't lost many games of footy over here, so maybe it was one of those days where a little bit of luck went our way, and a couple of 50-50 calls probably went our way, and sometimes that happens. To win footy games, sometimes you need a little bit of luck.
Jiwaka Sports continues after the break with news on cricket and swimming. Stay tuned.
Jiwaka Sports.
Welcome back to Jiwaka Sports. Australian Test cricketer Brad Hogg is currently in the country. His week-long stay will see him providing guidance for our national women's team, the CPL PNG Lewis, and the under-19 Garamuts during training. With over 20 years of experience in T20 cricket and ODI, Hogg at 46 is pretty much an active cricketer, playing with the Renegades in the Australian Big Bash League.
Throughout this week, Brad Hogg will be assessing the Lewis and the Garamut under-19s in training.
The under-19s and the women's team here, I'm just going to pass on some of my experiences, and if I see anything technical, I'll help them there. But it's more about talking about the game and situations in the game, and also you travel the world, and that's the best aspect of playing cricket. So while I'm travelling the world, I can just pass on those experiences of the things that I found hard and the things that I found easy. And yeah, there's not much that's too hard about travelling the world playing cricket.
Hogg said there is a lot of potential for the growth of cricket, considering how well both national teams, the Lewis and the Barramundis, are doing at the moment. During his first session with the CPL PNG Lewis today, Hogg went through some of the drills with them. By the end of the week, he hopes to impart valuable cricket knowledge he acquired in over 2 decades of Test cricket to the Lewis and the Garamuts.
I was back here, I think, around 2010, and just the progress of cricket in the region here is just phenomenal. And to see the rise in PNG cricket has just been sensational. And to see them now, I think the men are ranked 15, nearly played in the last World Cup where we held that in Australia and New Zealand. It would have been great if they could play there. And the women are 13th as well in the world. So I think they've done a really fantastic job over the last 5 years.
Dinero Sraiko, National EMTV Sports.
To swimming, the 30th National Swimming Championships will be held this weekend at the Tauranga Aquatic Centre from 31st March to 2nd of April. The annual competition is expected to bring together some of PNG's best swimmers, both from around the country and overseas.
A total of 84 swimmers, both young and old, will occupy the swimming pool at the Aquatic Centre this weekend, while for some, they will experience for the first time the national event alongside the seasoned national and international swimmers. Excellent performances are expected to be seen at this year's nationals as the athletes prepare to compete in their individual strokes. The events will see 50 metres, 100 metres, 200 metres, 400, 800 and 1500 metres freestyle, 200 metre breaststroke, backstroke and butterfly, and 200 metre and 400 metre individual medley events. All relay events will be contested over 4 sessions. The swimmers will race this weekend towards their personal best times with the hope of breaking records in the process. They will also be competing for a spot on the international competition list targeted for the 2017 Youth Commonwealth Games in the Bahamas from the 19th to the 23rd of July. Based on the performances of the athletes, a squad will also be formed for the 17th FINA World Championships to be hosted by Hungary from the 14th to the 30th of July and Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Competition. This will be followed by an international meet in USA for the Junior World Championships in August. PNG Swimming Inc. will also take the opportunity to use the national event to make selections for the 2018 Oceania Swimming Championships with Port Moresby to play host. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Jiwaka Sports. The latest on Cyclone Debbie in North Queensland and strong wind warnings here. Stay tuned.
Jiwaka Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Weather forecast and to the latest on Cyclone Debbie, a mass evacuation is being carried out in the Queensland town of Mackay as Cyclone Debbie gains intensity and threatens to cause widespread destruction. The Weather Office has issued a strong wind warning for coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, including western Milne Bay Islands. Strong northwest winds at 25 to 34 knots are expected to persist for the next 18 to 24 hours, causing rough seas and high winds. Small crafts and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before going out to sea.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that's been the news, sports and weather for Monday, the 27th of March 2017. On behalf of the EMTV News crew, pleasant viewing. Good night.